Whether you grew here or whether you flew here, just know when you pass University exit, that highway marker serves as a permanent homage to what was there. I'm standing in front of over 100 years of Black history. In 1869, following the Civil War, a group of ministers, the Freedmen Aid Society, believed that former enslaved African people in Atlanta deserved the opportunity to be educated. And they started in 1869 in Summerhill, just a small classroom called Clark Chapel, which was the first literally place where they were educating former African slaves. It eventually grew and they moved it to McDaniel Street. And then finally they just had an idea to, let's turn this into an actual university. So the school, Clark University, started off first named after the Freedmen Aid president, Bishop Davis Clark. As the school grew, they moved to newly purchased land over at Whitehall and McDaniel. And then when the president that followed Bishop Clark came, his name was Bishop Gilbert Haven. He decided, why not make this into a university and call it Clark University? So to make Bishop Gilbert Haven's vision of Clark University a reality, the Freedmen Aid Society purchased 450 acres of land in what was then called Brownsville, now called South Atlanta, right off of what we see off of the 85 at University exit, the permanent location, an educational facility for formerly enslaved Africans in Atlanta. Two prominent African-American builders and architects in Atlanta, Alexander Hamilton Sr. and his son, Alexander Hamilton Jr. And in 1890, they formed a company together, Alexander Hamilton and Son. And in 1922, they built Leete Hall, and it is the last remaining structure of the original Clark University campus. Leete Hall was a part of the Gammon Theological Institute, and it has these really, really interesting features, one being the main dominating feature, which is the Tudoresque Gothic Revival Tower. The Tudoresque Gothic Revival Tower that's on Leete Hall has a lot of medieval English Tudor elements that you would see in the 19th and 20th century Romanticism era. So it also has these really interesting roofline elements that remind you of a castle. Those are called parapets. They're the low protective walls that extend along the roof edge. Leete Hall also has really narrow multi-pane windows. It's woven in and there's multiple colors of bricks. It's just absolutely stunning. I'm so glad that the Leete Hall maintained over 100 years of life in South Atlanta. The reason that this building is the last one standing is that Clark University moved into the West End and merged eventually with Atlanta University, becoming Clark Atlanta University. In 1946, part of the campus was taken over by the City of Atlanta Public Schools, becoming George Washington Carver High School. The rest of the properties just kind of sat to decay, and then there was even in that time period a massive fire. The Atlanta Housing Authority took another large piece of the land and turned it into Carver Homes, which was government housing. And other than that, the society just started selling off parcels of the land. And now the City of Atlanta has taken George Washington Carver High School, and now it's the new schools at Carver, which has wonderful early college campus as well as a STEAM program. So excellence is still a priority on this land. It's wonderful land. I hope the children that go to the school know the history of this property because they're standing on it.
Magutanganama, Matonga Matekama, Matonga Matekama, Magutanganama, Magutanganama, Matonga Matekama, Matonga Matekama, Magutanganama, Magutanganama, Matonga Matekama, Matonga Matekama, Magutanganama, Magutanganama, Matonga Matekama, Matonga Magutanganama, Matonga
Thanks for virtually tagging along with me on today's episode of Yo, Did You Know? A travelogue web series that follows me, Jen Ferris, a seasoned film and TV location scout into film-friendly communities to reveal history hidden in plain sight, the artistry of architecture, and oftentimes the change makers who made those communities special. Did you learn something new today? Well, let's keep exploring together at YoDidYouKnowSeries.com.